he basically asked about the model that I have derived. Okay, so that's one question he asked. So his question was basically a general question about suppose I have written dp by dt is equal to r times p, right? And there was a integral form of this equation, which is p of 0 plus integral 0 to t r of s p of s ds, right? So it's question about generally what happens if r is not continuous and p is not continuous and so on. Okay, so I suppose many of you may not be knowing much about ODEs and all. So I will just give you a quick recall of what we generally learn from ODE is, you just imagine this right hand side as some function of t and p. Okay, as long as this function f is continuous with respect to both these variables, that is t and p, then this ODE always have a solution. That's what we learn from ODE course. How you will find a solution is a different question, but it always has a solution. But if this one of this r or p is discontinuous, then f may not be continuous, right? Therefore, in that case, you have no guarantee for this equation to have a solution. But then in such cases, you can still make sense of this equation. Therefore, you may still hope to get solution from this equation. That's the idea. Okay. Often these interest rates or the price, they may not be continuous. In finance, most of the time they may not be continuous. They may be jumping from one point to other. So therefore, you cannot expect the equation, this right hand side, to be continuous, and therefore, solving this is not always feasible in finance. Therefore, we go for always this equation and try to solve this equation. So this is what in Ito integral, that is why it becomes very integral. Okay, so the Ito integral becomes more feasible than the ODE. Okay, so that's just a remark. Of course, we will, if time permits, we will do all this. Okay, it was just a question asked, so I thought I will just make this remark. So most of the final summary is mostly we will be working with this kind of integral equations. That's finally the summary. Okay, so the next question that he asked is whether the effective interest rate always calculates a simple interest scheme or the compound interest scheme. So this I think I have already told. Effective interest is the idea of this is, suppose you put amount P of 0 and with the interest rate say R, and you got finally P of T, which is nothing but P of 0 plus interest, okay, obtained at the rate of R. Okay, often, especially in compound interest, this interest R finally will not, the interest I which you obtained is not exactly respecting the interest rate R, because you are compounding, right? Therefore, it will be something more than the rate R. So that is what is called the efficient interest rate. In simple interest, efficient interest rate and the nominal interest rate both will be same, obviously. Okay, but in compound interest, since you are that idea of compounding will tend to increase your nominal interest rate at the final return. Okay, that net interest rate is what is called the efficient interest rate. Okay. Okay, so that is another question. This is the only question I got from students.
Can you please just repeat this?
Yeah.
Please repeat this last part.
See, suppose 100 rupees you put, okay, and the interest is say 10%, okay. How much you are supposed to get? You are supposed to get 110 rupees at the end of the year, okay, per annum. Per annum, you will get this. In this simple interest. I hope everybody is able to see my whiteboard. Are you able to see my whiteboard? Yes, now? Okay. Suppose you are semi-annually compounding. Then what happens is 100 initially, in between, after 6 months, your principal will increase to 100 plus 5, because per annum 10% interest means half yearly it will be 5, half of it, right? So it means 105 rupees you would have got after 6 months of your initial investment. Now, rest of the time, you will calculate the remaining 5% for 105 rupees. Okay. So therefore, it will be 5 rupees plus 5% of 5 rupees. That will be how much? So that will be 105. At the end of the year, you will be having 105 plus 5% of 100 rupees, which is 5 rupees, plus 5% of 5 rupees. Okay. So it will be 110 rupees 25 paise, right? You are supposed to get 110 rupees, but you got 110 rupees 25 paise. If you convert it into percentage, it won't come to 10. It will be 10 point something, right? 0.25 or something like that. Okay. So I don't know exactly. You may have to calculate it. So this is called the efficient interest rate, effective interest rate. I think not the 10% that you got. You are promised. Okay, because of the compounding, you tend to get little more. Okay, now after getting that little more, you calculate the corresponding interest rate. That is called the effective interest rate. Is it clear?
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. So therefore, in compound interest only, the effective interest rate will differ from the nominal interest. Nominal interest rate means whatever is initially quoted to you. Okay, that is the nominal interest. Yeah. Any other question?
Sir, why did we calculate 5%? We had to calculate 10% interest rate on 100, but we were doing it semi-annually. So after 6 months, we had to calculate the interest, and then after 6 months, we again had to calculate. So we calculated on 105 instead of 100 after 6 months because it was compound interest.
See,
like we could also calculate. We could have calculated that 5% interest rate on 100 after 6 months. It has gained 5% on 100 itself.
See, your voice was breaking. So I guess you are asking why we are calculating in between. Is it so?
No, sir. No. Actually, we had to calculate this because we were finding interest for semi-annual parts.
Yeah.
After 6 months, we had to calculate the interest. So
yes.
I'm asking that was it compound interest? Because of that, we
yes.
to calculate our interest rate on 105. We could simply calculated. We would have calculated this 5% on 100 and again 5% on 100.
Yeah. See this. See, your voice breaks correctly at the crucial time for me. See, you generally the banks break the period into some n number of equally split intervals, and then they will accumulate the interest. They may not pay you explicitly. They will accumulate the interest with the principal, and then for the future time they will calculate the interest for the accumulated value. For that purpose, they split the period into n pieces, and for every sub period they will keep accumulating your interest, and then carry that as principal to calculate the interest for the coming period. That is the idea of compound interest. They may not pay you that money. Okay, in compound interest scheme, they will not explicitly pay you that money, 5 rupees to you. Is that your question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead now.
Okay. Okay, so I think today, with today's class, which I will be uploading shortly, we will be finishing this time value of money. Okay, so what we are discussing now is the time value of money, and that topic will be over by today's class, okay, which I will be uploading shortly after this live session. And our quiz one will be next Friday, not tomorrow, day after tomorrow. I think the date is 22nd Jan. Okay, we will have our first quiz on the topic that we will be discussing till today. I will anyway upload the notes for the quiz one alone. Okay, by today or maybe tomorrow I will do that, so that you have 1 week time to do it. So are you able to see my whiteboard, students?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay, okay, good, good.